Please put your hands together for Ken Fager. I built up enough courage on March 12, 2005, after several drinks at a house party here in Madison, to tell my coworker that I was madly in love with her. And 7 years later, we got married. We stayed together on the same staff, and it was wonderful. We got our undergraduate degrees together. We got our master's degrees together. We got a dog that was just absolutely wonderful. And the happiest day of my life was getting married to her. And shortly after graduation, she got a job in Charlotte, North Carolina. And being the fool that I was in love, I followed her blindly. I packed up the 18-foot truck and went down there sight unseen. And it was actually a great living situation at UNC Charlotte. It was rent-free, and about a month after moving there, I got the best-paying job of my life. And things were on the upswing, and after a while, my wife stopped telling me that she loved me. Oh, she would go through the motions. I would say, I love you, and she would say, I love you back, but she just stopped. And then this wonderful job, this high-paying job, it turns out my coworkers were abusive, so I would come home after work stressed out, and when I would get home, I would see my dog, but I wouldn't see my wife. One of the things that I was initially attracted to her, by, was that she was a go-getter. She was a people pleaser. Whatever she set her mind to, she was going to accomplish. But that meant when I got home, she wasn't there. And when she was, she would unload about her stressful day. She would tell me about all the people she was helping, and I was truly impressed. But then she would go back to work. Sometimes I would cook dinner, or I would buy her flowers. I never tried to stop romancing her. And then she would get a phone call, and she'd just be gone for several hours, and I would be alone. And my job was terrible, and this was our lives for a while, and eventually I became very depressed, and I was sad, and I was lonely. I would move far away from my family, my friends. I was in a town that I was unfamiliar with, and eventually, one day at work, I just left. I got on a bus, and I checked myself into a hospital. When I got there, I told the doctors, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm lonely. And every few minutes, my brain is telling me, you should kill yourself. When I tried explaining this to my wife, it was our first anniversary, and I wanted that evening to be special, but we ended up fighting. I wanted to move back to Wisconsin. I wanted to see my family. I wanted to see my friends. I had to quit my job. It was too stressful. And she would tell me all the things that I had done wrong in the past 7 years. The list would come out. I just wanted to be told that I was loved. I would tell her I loved you, and she wouldn't tell me she loved me back. And I was dying on the inside, little by little, day by day. That Christmas, we went home, and I wanted to tell my family. I wanted to tell her family, but I didn't want to ruin everybody's good times, so I kept quiet about it, and we went back to Charlotte. I was jobless. I had filed 100 resumes all around town, but nobody was hiring. And I got desperate, and then I put in a resume with this little university on the hill here in Madison, and they hired me. I got my dream job. I went back to Madison. I got to see my family. I got to see my friends. Things were on the upswing. And I tried explaining this to my wife, and I tried to convince her, let's move everything back here where we can be happy. I can see you, I can see my dog, I can see my family, you can see your family, we can see our friends. And she told me how important her job was. I never stopped trying to romance her. I would send her cards, I would take time out of my day to let her know how much I cared. And I would tell her that I loved her. And she would go through the motions and stop short of telling me, I love you too. And this went on for a long time. Hours turned into days, turned into weeks, turned into months. I loved my wife, but she wouldn't tell me she loved me back. She came to see me for our second anniversary here in Madison. We had a beautiful dinner at Brokash. She brought my dog. I was so happy to see my dog. I was so happy to see her. I'm a photographer, and I had printed out this nice big portrait of us in happier times together, smiling. And I framed it, and I gave it to her. And at the end of the night, I walked her to her car, and I told her I loved her. And I honestly can't remember if she told me she loved me back. She left me in that parking lot. She wished me the best. And I felt so alone, so sad, so depressed, so suicidal, and I just wanted an end to the pain. I just wanted to be loved. I wanted my love to be reciprocated. It was around the holiday time that year that she told me she wasn't coming back. She wasn't going to visit me. And I didn't take it well. And after 2 years of trying to romance my wife, 2 years of telling her that I loved her without it being reciprocated, 2 years without affection, 2 years without intimacy, you know, men who cheat on their wives are scumbags. Absolute scumbags. That is my opinion today, and that was my opinion then. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be held. I wanted to be warm in the cold Wisconsin nights. I wanted that pleasure in my life, and it was wrong. And I felt guilty for sympathizing with the devil of all people. For my third anniversary, I got a letter in the mail saying that I was divorced, and I knew it was coming. I couldn't muster up the strength to go down there for that court date. I would have been a mess. I would have just begged. I would have cried. Probably would have killed myself afterwards. I didn't really want to die. I didn't really want to kill myself. I just wanted the pain to be over. Well, I graduated from 2 UWs, 2. I speak German, and I'm from a family of prolific drinkers from Wisconsin. So when a man gets divorced, he often turns to the bottle. So when I say that I was drinking a lot, try to imagine in your head what that volume was. My doctors saw it coming. And we upped the antidepressants. And you know what the worst thing about antidepressants is? It's the side effects. I put on weight. My dick stopped working. That's true. You know what else was really bad? I couldn't sit for 2 months. That was another side effect. That was actually worse than the dick thing. I know there's not much to laugh about here. Thank you. And another side effect is suicidal thoughts. So I wanted to kill myself even more. It was terrible. I had hit rock bottom. And then we just happened to come across the right one, and I started sleeping again. I started eating right. I felt better about myself. I started working out. I started reconnecting with my art, which has been described as depressing and deals with abandonment and isolation, and it's wonderful, and I love it. Makes me happy. I don't give a whatever you think. I reconnected with my family and my friends, and my relationships with them are better than ever. I've made it this far. And to be honest, I haven't had a date in 8 months. Not for a lack of trying, and I'm still trying. More than anything in the world, I just want a woman to tell me, in all sincerity, I love you, so that I can say I love you too.
Thank you, Ken. So, ladies, if you're interested in an angsty artist type whose dick may or may not work, welcome to the Madison Story Slam dating service. I'll be your guide.